Everyone, and welcome to the Socket podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that doesn't seem like a big topic, but I keep coming across it in my life. So I thought I would just put it out there as a little bit of a public service announcement. I talk often about the fact that we are in control of the energy that you bring into a room. Well, what about the physical space that you are taking up within that room while you're driving, when you're in a shopping aisle, when you're coming out of an elevator? I notice all around me that many people don't seem to be recognizing that they're making a problem for other people around them, or they are inconveniencing others. And I thought it would just be a quick little podcast to discuss, not necessarily for yourself, because hopefully you do everything that I'm going to talk about, but how do we teach our children to be aware that there are other people around us that we need to be mindful of, and that we need to make sure that the flow of our body and our movement, or what space we're taking up, isn't going to be problematic for someone else. So a couple of things that I've seen, and I see a lot, are number one, an elevator. Right? When you are waiting for an elevator door to open up, when you're not in the elevator, you're in the waiting area. I have always been taught that you need to wait for that door to open fully up and make sure that there's not someone else inside that needs to come out first. And so I've always tried to teach my children, we need to wait on the side. We need to make sure that there's no one in there. Once the elevator door opens up and there's no one in there, go ahead in. But so often when I'm leaving an elevator, I see people or their kids just rushing in, as opposed to doing what I believe the correct thing to do is let the people in the elevator off first. That's kind of a simple example. Another example I see all the time is when people are shopping in what I would consider very tight quarters of shopping aisles down a grocery store or a Target or any other type of store you would have where you have a shopping cart and aisles. And all of a sudden someone's moving at a consistent speed, and then they just stop, completely stop. They're not aware that anyone's behind them or how they're affecting anyone else. And it's one thing to stop, put your cart over on the side, shop for what you need to shop for. But I'm talking like abruptly stop because they all of a sudden like, oh, I need to check my list. And now no one can get past them. And if I'm that person behind, I wait for a little bit thinking, okay, maybe they're going to start moving again. But a lot of times you have to say, oh, could I get around you? I've been behind you. Could I get around you? And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Another thing that I see often is someone blocking the door, blocking the entrance to any door. The thing that happened more recently, I was at the airport and there was a mom with 4 kids, and God love her, she had 4 kids with her and they were little ones. And so they were all in the women's bathroom at O'Hare or whatever airport, I assume it was O'Hare. And she and her 3 kids were all blocking the main entrance, waiting for her 4th child to come out. And the kids were kind of running around and I while I felt for her that she had 4 kids that she had to try to wrangle, she literally, when I went in and when I went out of the bathroom, was standing right in the middle, and her kids were running around enough that people couldn't get past them. I kept watching people. I'd be like, "Hi, excuse me, is this the exit?" Like they couldn't quite figure it out. So that was something that I really like, when moms and parents are aware of what space are your kids taking up, right? And is your kids' activity blocking something or being disruptive? We've been at a couple of restaurants, and man, oh man, I'm always in shock when there's just kids running around yelling. Like, we're at a restaurant. It's not Chuck E. Cheese. It's not McDonald's. It's a nice restaurant. And I have no problem with people bringing their kids in, and I have zero problem with one child having a meltdown and the mom or the dad taking the child out if they can't have, if they're not able to get the child calmed down, right? I mean, I understand that kids are in our lives. I'm not complaining about that in any way, shape, or form. It's when parents are not doing any monitoring of the fact that their kids are truly running around and disrupting other people that are in a space that are there paying for a nice meal. I think there should be some kind of semblance of understanding of what protocol is, or what's kind and respectful for other people that are in your physical space. One other thing I see is when people are walking on a sidewalk. Now, when COVID hit, people were like both going off the sidewalk onto the grass, and luckily we're not in that space anymore that most people are doing that. But what I do notice is some people don't realize if they're walking 2 by 2 and taking up that sidewalk, that when someone's coming at them, they need to then fall into 1-to-1, right? Someone goes first and someone goes behind, or they have to shift over to allow for those other people to pass them. Um, and I'm not really sure if some people just haven't been taught this. Their parents haven't consistently shown them that this is how you do it. I'm not really sure where people get to a place where they are taking up room, they are taking up space that is impacting other people that should not be. The last thing I can think of is cars in the left-hand lane. Oh my goodness, right? You have a lane of traffic. Let's say you've got 3, 4 lanes, and the left-hand side should be a passing lane. We all know it. We all been taught it, but how often are you behind a person, even if you're not trying to go crazy fast, you're just trying to get around the tractor trailers, or people that are going a little slower. If you're literally just using the left-hand lane as a passing and then you want to get back into the middle or the right-hand lane, how often are you in a place where someone is in the left-hand lane that's going 10 miles underneath the speed limit, or even, unfortunately, the speed limit in general? Kind of happens all the time. So when you're driving, making sure, hey, am I blocking anyone? Am I causing people to have to go slower than they want to go? And making sure that you're using those lanes appropriately. Now, all of this doesn't seem like that big of a deal. It really doesn't. But the fact that there are so many people that don't do these, what I consider basic courtesies, to be aware that someone else is surrounding them or around them or in the same space that they are, I just thought it would be a quick little podcast to come on and remind everyone to teach your children to be aware of the physical space that they take up, and make sure that they are not interrupting or being rude or affecting someone in a negative way. While I like to keep the Socket podcast as positive as possible, this one thing really seems to bug me. Oh, and speaking of bathrooms, one of my biggest pet peeves is when bathroom doors in restaurants or in anywhere don't close, right? They don't latch, they don't match up. I'm thinking, how hard should it be to make sure that these structures actually latch? I don't know. I've held a door shut with my foot one too many times. So if you're listening, if you are making sure that yourself and your children are paying attention to their physical space, and if you are a bathroom door installer, please just make it match up, make it consistent, make it good, and make it sure that there's no big cracks along the edges that people can see me peeing, because that's not fun for anyone. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks.